Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Yes, there is a boy. So I am right to say boy and girls. Today is our 25th day of this series that is called Leadership Series. And we have eminent women in the lead house, unstoppable women. And these women are in the lead house, challenging themselves, learning the leadership skills, and trying to be the great leaders on the surface of this earth. And today we have Mr. Nara Subramaium as our mentor. He is going to speak about keeping the end in mind. And Mr. Nara, for your kind information, today's challenge was just related to this topic. They were asked to visualize themselves that after 5 years from now or so, when they are going to achieve their big goal, then how would they feel and what will be their thanksgiving speech to the people who have contributed in their success? So they have
Nice.
to keep the end in mind now, and then they have to prepare the speech. I hope they all must have prepared that you can ask in between when you are delivering your lecture. And
Okay.
and without taking much time, I just request you to kindly begin your session. Thank you very much, Mr. Nara.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Halima. Again, my pleasure. My pleasure to be here. Addressing all of you. As Dr. Halima said, you all are definitely very esteemed, women in business and in leadership. And so, my pleasure again. And Dr. Halima has been doing a lot of things. So, just like the topic that she has put forward to all of you. And I'm so glad that it would be also tied to this subject that we are actually going to be discussing. And as in the past, as we go through the topic, please feel free to just jump in, any questions, any comments, and any feedback. So it'll make it as interactive as possible. So as you all would have thought of, the last 25 days have actually gone by very, very fast. I know you all have been so busy with so many activities from from early morning till evening, and today is the fourth day that I'm actually spending with you all, and I wanted to just very quickly run through that. The first day that we were together, we were talking about entrepreneurial competencies, and these are the various competencies that you would expect to have as any business person or any entrepreneur or anyone in any form of profession or business. The second one is, what are the business goals? Very similar. There will be a parallel. In case you're in business, that's business goals. If you're in a profession, then what would be your professional goals, or etc., your personal goals? The third, that is last week, we spoke about key performance indicators. If you know your competency, you know your goal, you're already in a business or a profession, then how do you measure? Now, having done all that, we finally come to today, and that is keeping the end in mind. So, what do we actually mean by the end? We all know what is the beginning, but then when we speak about the end, just think back. What do you mean by the end? And then we will discuss it a little bit. So, when you say the end, do you mean the month end, the quarter end, the year end, the 3 years from now, 2 years from now, or 5 years from now? Can I invite any one of you? What do you mean, or what do you think of when we say keep the end in mind?
So I think it means what we achieve at the end.
Okay. What we achieved.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Anyone else care to give an idea?
Like in short term, it's kind of maybe 2 years, and in long term, if the people are asking like, what do you want to see in the end, like in a long term goal, so it will be 5 years then.
Okay. All right. Very good.
It also means hello.
Yes, please go ahead, Maria.
It also means keeping yourself ahead of others when you plan ahead, and at the end of the day, you try to achieve.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And all of you are very, very correct. Um, Sometimes when we do speak about something, we may have something in mind, but then there's a lot of interpretation. And as I said, what you have talked about is definitely very correct. The end is a point in time. It's a destination, and we all come out and say that, where do you expect to be in 1 year's time, 5 years time? Every time we interview someone, for example, or when you are coming to a particular point in time, you actually say, where shall I be, or what do I hope to achieve by the time I retire, for example, or why do I go into business and what's my goal? What is the end? What is your end in mind? Okay, so today we're actually going to talk about the end. And when we start talking about the end, when do we start talking about it? Should we actually be talking about the end in the beginning, or only when we come closer towards the end? So keep in mind, we want to have the end in mind as early as possible. Quick question. Now, you all would have heard of someone who talked about begin with the end in mind. Do you remember who was the person who said that? Begin with the end in mind.
No.
It was a very, very famous
Yes.
person. The person who wrote the 7 Habits. The 7 Habits of an Effective Person. That is Dr. Stephen Covey. So if you have heard about him, he actually came out with the 7 habits. In fact, he actually said there are altogether 8 habits. But the first of them all is begin with the end in mind. You would have heard of people like Simon Sinek to say, why? Why
Yes,
are you
sir.
doing this,
Yes, sir.
right? What's your purpose? What's the purpose of doing this? So similarly, begin with the end in mind. But that is a very difficult concept, right? It's a difficult concept. When you start a job, you really don't know what it is you're going to do. You studied for something, you applied for a job, and then you don't know how the job is going to end. But you start doing it, and then as you go along, it develops, it evolves. Similarly, when you start a business, the few of you who are already here and who have already started business, when you started a business, it's difficult to say, where am I going to be? You may have an idea in mind that I want to achieve $1 million in my bank account. Dr. Halima spoke about, I want to touch 1 million students. So you may have an end in mind. So that's like a goal, right? That's the goal. So like what Dr. Nara said, what do you hope to achieve? And like what you all also mentioned, what's the period in time? So I want to say, Stephen Covey talked about begin with the end in mind. And what did he mean by that? Okay, what did he mean by that? So he actually said, start by defining what you want. What do you actually want to achieve? In anything that you do, any business that you actually want to do, what do you want to achieve? What is the ultimate goal? What is the ultimate result you want to attain? You must come out with that. You remember we said in the various talks that we spoke about in the last 3 weeks, we said come out with goals. So the goal is I want to achieve this by a certain period in time. Okay, I want to sell 1 million products. I want to sell $1 million worth of goods. I want to achieve production of so much by a certain time. So it's always the end, a result with a period in time. Now, how do we go about defining what we want? We already talked about setting the goals. So envision your end result. So we have come out with certain numbers. We say by this time I want to achieve this, but envision. You must also visualize. Okay, visualize what is the end result, and then align your actions, your decisions, your priorities, all of them. You move towards that direction. So this is what we need to do all the time. So we talked about competencies. So you need to know how to start a business, how to do a business, how to go out and achieve the business, etc., etc. You need to have the goals. You need to have the KPI. But once you visualize, then that drives all your actions, your decisions, your priorities, because priorities will change. So the key ideas behind this principle, the principle of keeping the end in mind, keep that principle in mind, Stephen Covey said, make it a habit. Now, a habit is something which you do every day, every time. Nowadays, you already woke up early in the morning and you started off with your affirmations, correct? It became a habit. Are you going to stop it on 31st of May? What about 1st of June? And what about July, August, September? So, but before this, you may not have had that. You may have, some of you may have that, but you didn't do it like so firmly, so devotedly, right? Now it became a habit. So you need to continue. So same way, whenever you do anything, keep the end in mind and keep it as a habit. Why? Why do we need to do this? When you keep that end in mind, then you have a clarity of purpose. You will understand your destination. It's very simple. Every day when you are getting up, you're going somewhere, you know you're going to go there. There's a very funny statement. They say, if you don't know where you're going, how will you know when you reach there? Right? So
Yes.
what's the end? Keep that end in mind. Just like Google Maps, or when you're going ways and you're flying somewhere, I'm going to go to that place by a certain time. So the purpose, the effort that you're going to put in, the goals that you're going to reach, the roadmap. Okay, so all of these things will be telling you, this is my end in mind. So that you got to keep. Now, what are the other ways that, okay, the A was clarity of purpose. B is the proactive planning. So you know you want to go there, you know you want to reach there, but you need to plan how you're going to get there. So you are going to come out with a very, very proactive planning. Once when I was going for a particular program, they said, Nara, what do you want to achieve in 12 months' time? So I said, okay, I want to achieve 20,000 US dollars every month. Just a goal, right? 20,000 US dollars. How are you going to get it? I cannot just get up in the morning and say, okay, by next week I want to achieve 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. I need to do 20 different things. I need to do 10 different things every day. I need to do something. I need to teach someone something. Okay. Then they also said, if you wanted to get that 20,000 per month, which is 240,000 in a year, visualize. So we actually wrote out a check, a bank balance, your bank statement, and said $240,000 in my bank account, and I keep it on my wall. Okay, I haven't received it yet, but at least I know I'm working towards that. I've got partly. Okay, so now proactive planning, proactive thinking, anticipate what you need to do, what are your resources, what are your strategies. So this is the principle. So the principle is clarity of purpose, proactive planning, and your focus and alignment. Every single thing you do, you need to have that end goal, tie it up to your priorities, so that when you make choices, you will avoid distraction. You will do A, you won't do B. B may be important, but you may get someone else to do it. You won't do it, somebody else will do it. Okay? You become very, very focused. So this is the reason why when you say the end in mind, this is where I want to be at a certain time. Okay, you will do all of these things. Later, you can tell me what is your end in mind. Okay, where is your goal? What do you want to achieve? Now, this whole course, the 30-day course, is all about personal leadership. Right? It's about personal leadership, self-awareness. What are the things that you need to do? What are your strengths? You remember you did the wheel of life. What are your strengths? Where are you not so strong? What do you need to do to get there? What are your values? Do you know your values or your principles? What are your aspirations? How you want to be? You may have a goal to achieve that, but what is your aspiration? What kind of a person are you going to become by that time? Okay, so in principle, these are all the things which are contributing to the end in mind. Finally, it's all about a purpose-driven life. It's not only about money. So sometimes in business, we start talking about the KPI, and we're talking about how much you want to achieve, what's your profit, what's your cash in the bank, what kind of properties you're going to invest in, etc. But what's the purpose? You may achieve all of this, but you want to share it with somebody else. Okay, that's the purpose. You want to have a sense of fulfillment. That's the purpose. You want to have a peace of mind and comfort and be able to go to sleep at night safely, or good and sound sleep, rested. You want to have a very healthy life. Okay, these are the purposes. So can you see how they all link up? Are you able to see how they all link up to the end in mind?
Yes, it is very late.
All right. So think about all of these as the components. And one thing else which I would really want to talk to you about, the exit strategy. So I think about it as the end in mind. We talked about, is it a time? Is it one particular goal? Or is it a particular period in time? I think about the end in mind as also the exit strategy. Many people actually start a business, they continue, and then they continue until their last days that they have the business, and they're continuing with the business. So I say that even for your business, you need to have an exit strategy. You're not going to continue working until you're 70, 80, or 90 years old, and you want to exit at a particular point in time. So I say, when you start a business, also come out with a plan when you will end your involvement in that business. Okay, come out with an exit strategy. So what is the exit strategy? The exit strategy, which I'm giving you the concept is, you may have already thought about this, but the concept is, this is something which is very essential for entrepreneurs, for all people who are going into business, whether it's a new venture or whether you've already been running it for some time, like Dr. Nara has already been running for quite some time, looking at the business that she's doing together with her husband, the business that you are doing by yourself, for example, and also with the others. Even though it may be already a running business, come out with a well thought out strategy to exit at a certain point in time, maximize the value of your business, of your company, or your business entity, and then plan for a smooth transition. Okay, so this is very similar to when you go into a career or a profession, or when you take up a job. You may think, okay, I want to work in this company for 3 years, or 5 years, or 10 years, for example, and I want to become the CEO of the company. I want to become the leader. Okay, so you will have some plans in your professional career. Similarly, when you start a business, you come out with a plan, your goals, what you're going to do, how you're going to achieve it. Come out with a plan of exiting that business. I know people, for example, they start a business, and let's say they are a consultant. Give an example of a consultant, like an example of a professional. They start a business and they continue until a very long period of time, until they decide, okay, I don't want to do the business anymore. But they think about it too late. Okay, they think about it too late. COVID was a very good example. We thought about running our businesses, but COVID came and damaged our structure of the businesses, and some people try to sell their business. It's a bit too late. They want to get out of the business, they want to go to do something else. It's too late. But you cannot plan for a COVID. You couldn't plan. Nobody knew about it. Nobody thought about it. But you can plan for emergencies. You can plan for surprise. You can plan for a challenge. If this happens, what will I do? Now we will plan for COVID. If something like that happens, if there's a medical emergency, now we start planning for it. But we need to plan any unforeseen circumstances. This is business contingency planning, disaster recovery planning, correct? So the exit strategy is a point which I want to leave you all with. If you're going to exit, then what is it you're going to sell your business for? Okay, that's what I want to talk to you about. If you say that you are a consultant, you're a professional, you are running a college, what's the value of your business? Start thinking about the value of your business. The value of a business is if you were to sell it or you were to merge it with somebody, what's that value? Very often we don't think about it until we want to go and do that. So my challenge to you is think about it now. Think about it when you start a business. So for example, some of you may have got 2 businesses or 3 businesses. So what's the value of each of those businesses? Okay, find a way to value it. If you were to sell it, how much will you get for it? Okay, so that's the purpose of understanding what is the value of a business. So when you talk about the exit strategy, thinking about the business and the value, timing is very important. The exit strategy is something that when you start thinking about it earlier, you may say, give yourself 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Doesn't matter. Each of you may have your own idea. But it is just a possible scenario. Okay? It's also called scenario planning. It's a possible scenario. You might decide to continue for a long time. Number 2, you might decide to continue and then at some point you want to hand it over to your family, to your children, and you're creating this business for them. That's okay, doesn't matter. But find a value. So when you hand it over to somebody and you say, this is the value of the business value is X million dollars or X $100,000. Okay, so there's a value for it. So timing is important. Identifying your potential exit options. Do you know that many people start a business just by a one-man or one-woman show, and then they decide to make it a public company. They call it an IPO, an initial public offering. You sell it to the public. You list it on the World Stock Exchange, the Dow Jones Stock Exchange, or whichever country that you are located in. Right? You might decide to list it on the Mumbai Stock Exchange, or the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, or the Singapore Stock Exchange. So if you sell it out, the value of the business can be 100 times the value that you are thinking about in your mind. You will never even imagine even you can sell it for millions and millions of dollars. Okay, that's the value. So if you were to sell it, if you were to do a merger and acquisition with somebody, you might decide to merge with somebody and make it even bigger. Build a valuable and scalable business and find out what would be the foundation for your business. If you're going to do this, you also need to know what's the foundation. Right? Seek professional advice. There are lots of people who can tell you, talk to you, teach you, and tell you from their perspective what's the value of your business. Financials are required. They need to be accurate. They need to be updated. You document them and do a due diligence so that you verify what is it that you're looking at. You can evaluate potential buyers. You can even potential buyers. You may not decide to sell. Okay, you don't have to sell it. But you can actually talk to somebody and say, if I sell my business, how much do you think I can get? Alright. And the purpose of doing all this is not to sell it off, but at some point you might decide to sell. So be prepared. Okay, that's the value. But even if you didn't sell, like I mentioned, even if you didn't sell, find out what's the value, because that's the value you know. You might want to go for a loan from the bank, right? You want to expand, you want some working capital. So you need to know what's the value. Evaluate potential buyers, partners, communicate internally, talk about the discussion about this plan internally with your stakeholders, your partners. At some point, when you're ready to execute the strategy, okay, be ready to execute. And then plan for your life after that, because you might decide you're in business now, you want to continue with the business for another 20 years. By that time, you might be 40 years old, 45 years old, 50 years old. You might decide you want to sell it. You've already built up the business to a very good extent, and then you want to retire. Or you might become an advisor to the business and see it grow from another perspective. Okay, what's the next chapter? So exit strategies doesn't mean you stop what you're doing. You don't be in the business anymore. You may exit, you may still be a chairman, a chairwoman, you might be an advisor, you might be a patron. You could do a lot of things because you already have a lot of knowledge and strategies in your mind. So exit strategy will be flexible, you'll adapt it to the changing circumstances, and you also reassess your plan. Just like you do your annual budget, you also find out what's the value of your business. If you look at your balance sheet, you will know already what's the value. Okay. Stay informed about market conditions. If you are prepared during challenging times and you build your business and you strategize, your business value can be immensely improved because you are way ahead of your time. Okay, you prepared your strategies much earlier than time. Okay, as I mentioned to you, I always end the slide with this. I say that even though they are sustainable goals, start with these goals, end with these goals. Why? Because they are sustainable. That's the whole name of it, is sustainable development goals, right? So when you start with these goals in mind, immediately you are already now working with something which is aligned to the United Nations, aligned to the global, the international scenario. Okay, so keep this in mind, and when you end it, also, like I said, look at the last SDG, partnerships for the goals. Right? When you're doing something, you may be able to merge with somebody which is a much bigger company. A very, very much bigger company could come to Dr. Halima and say, Dr. Halima, you've been doing this now for the last 1 year, last 3 years, 5 years. I would like you to merge with me. Come and become part of my international organization. And you go out and do the international collaborations. Example, this is something which I'm just giving an example of Dr. Halima because she's doing so many different things. But what happens, it immediately elevates yourself, your value, your self-worth, the value of your business, all the good things that you've been doing, it elevates the value. Okay. So that's my discussion about becoming bigger, growing, developing, continuously developing, continuous improvement. Okay, so this is what we all need to be thinking about all the time. It's not just only what we are doing now. You know, your mind is not just here, but you see, like you're saying, the mind is so huge, right? Your opportunities are actually all over the world. It's not just only where you are, but your opportunities are huge. So think about all of them. You can grow and start thinking about growth every, let's say, it could be every month, it could be every quarter, every 3 months. Many people do it at least once a year. Okay, what's the value of my business? How do I increase my value from this year to the next year? The business is not just only about profit and cash flow. It's worth, it's the worth, it's the value of the business, the value of your property. All right? This is my sharing. I want to open it up for your feedback, your thoughts, and your ideas that you actually have as a result of our discussion. Feel free to open up and discuss.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nara. I have a question.
I think Dr. Nara,
Yes, Dr.
Modina is coordinator today. So first
Okay.
we shall thank Mr. Nara, and then after that, house will open and then she will coordinate after.
Sure, thank you, Dr. Halima. That's very, very structured. You know, Dr. Halima has always got a very good structure about this thing. So there is a purpose. There is a purpose for it. It gives the importance. It also gives the responsibility. Okay. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Modinat. Waiting for you, Modinat.
Modina,
I think her line is.
Very impactful, very, very interesting, and everyone, I'm very sure everyone enjoyed the session today with you. And it has also given us the opportunity to plan ahead of what we want to become and to also work towards achieving it, because the end will justify the means.
Yes. Perfect. Perfectly said.
So Thank you very much. Do we? I want to put it to the leaders in the house, the women leaders in the house, to also share in one thing or the other that they have enjoyed in Dr. Nara's speech today. Over to you. Hello.
Dr. Nara, now you can ask.
My question, thank you. My question is, what is the ideal age for retirement?
Ideal age for retirement. Okay, I love these challenging questions. So it is debatable because there's no fixed number, and the ideal age would be, in many countries they fix the age, right? They fix the age, and then they say that the question, Fatma, was asked by Dr. Anara is, what is the ideal age for retirement? Am I right, Dr. Anara?
Yes.
Okay. What is the ideal age for retirement? So the ideal age for retirement would actually depend on many different things. It would depend on the individual, the profession, the occupation, for example, the type of business that you may be in, the status that you're in. For example, are you an executive? Are you a manager? Are you a senior manager, leader, etc.? And ultimately, what is if you and I are both in the same business or profession, your thoughts may be different, my thoughts will be different, because I have certain goals and you have certain goals. So the governments all over the world came up with a certain number. Okay, they came up with a certain number. For example, I can tell you in Malaysia, it was many years back, it was 55. They said everyone should retire at the age of 55. Then they changed it to 58, and then now it's around 60. And then depending on certain people, certain professions, then it can be even higher. Okay, now I'm giving the example of Malaysia. In the Western world, in the US, in Europe, the number is different. When we were 55, they were already 60. Okay, so similarly in your case, you may look at what is it that the person is doing now and what is the ideal age. Typically, it's also as long as the person can contribute, as long as the person can add value. They need not be stifled by any particular number. As we all say, age is just a number. When it comes to our birthday, we all say, oh, age is just a number. But when it comes to retirement, we suddenly think, oh, I should be retiring now. Okay, so we retire when we think that we cannot add value, we think that we want to rest, we think that we want to hand it over to somebody else, and this is all personal. The organizational retirement age is fixed. They already fixed it. So we need to work according to that. And even in the organization, as an example, when I was there, the retirement age was a certain number. But even after I retired, they said that even though that is the retirement age, you may retire at that age, then they offer you an extended employment, an extended service. That becomes a year-to-year appointment. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is my ideal age? I actually wanted to retire much earlier. That's my ideal age. I would like to retire at the age of 50. But then I'm not going to do nothing sitting at home. I would continue to do something.
Yeah.
And I would like to go out, consult, help, teach, do a business, try different things out. Okay, so that is, it's all about at which point in time we want to stop, at which point. You remember recently in France there was a major upheaval. The whole country is in a shambles because they decided to extend the retirement age from 60 to 62. And everybody is so upset. When they extended the age to 62, the older people have to continue working till 62. The younger people cannot come into the business or the not business but the professions, the jobs. Right? So it depends on individual. So really you can assess yourself individually when do we want to stop. When do you want to retire?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Hello.
sir.
Mm.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Another question I want to ask Dr. Nara is that if you planned for yourself that, okay, in a certain company that you are working for, you want to spend like 5 years or 10 years, that, okay, after that year, you must have gotten something that you really wanted or what you have set as a goal. But what happened if at the end of the day, on getting to that age, you have not been able to achieve that goal? What do you think the worker or the person should do? Should the person quit or should still continue to strive harder till those goals are achieved?
Okay, good question, Marina. Again, this may be depending on a case to case. It may depend on the person, the type of function or work or service that they are performing. And I can give an example that when I started work, I always said to myself, in the old days, the idea was that an executive would work for 5 years, and then by that time they would have achieved certain results, and then it would be a good time for them to move on. It's just a number. It may be my idea, it may be somebody else's idea, but the general thought was it would take 5 years for you to learn, come to a certain peak, and then you will come to a certain point in time when you reach a glass ceiling, and then you decide you want to move on to something else in the same organization or somewhere else. So it may be 5 years, it may be 3 years. In the modern age, it's shorter. Nobody wants to stay working in one same organization for so long. Things change, there are some things new outside, and then you might when you move, you will get a much better remuneration, you will get a much better respect, a position that you might want to aspire to. Okay, so it's case to case, but once you set that in mind, so when you go into a job, when you go into a business, you come out with an idea. This is why I was saying the end in mind. So you tell yourself, I will work in this company. It's a beautiful organization, or maybe not. But let's say it's a very good organization. It's very, they look after the employees. They are very developmental. They are always innovative, etc. I'll be there for 3 years or 5 years, and then I want to be able to see a progression in my career. Okay, you got to work towards it. You got to learn. You got to produce results. You got to satisfy your supervisors. See the management are seeing your contributions. When that happens, they will offer or they will give. If assuming everything is going fair, then they'll offer and they'll give. You take it, you again start all over again. It's a reiterative process. It doesn't stop there. The ladder always needs to be climbed. So you continue the process. Now, sometimes you may not get what you're looking for. The person may not find it. They may not be receiving it. It may be given to somebody else. Someone else has become a challenger to them. That doesn't mean they stop, they go away. That's running away from the problem. They may be able to understand why. How is it that they didn't get it? There may be something else different that the other person was able to provide or afford. How can I challenge myself? Can we expand the pie? It's not only that the piece of pie that was attributed for me now goes away to somebody else. Can we share the pie? So there are many things to think about, okay? And then work towards that. If ultimately you do not find, the person does not find that potential there, then it's always the opportunity is to move on to somewhere else. But exhaust all your opportunities there first, and then move on to somewhere else. So I hope that answered or gave you a perspective there.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. It is very, very useful. And another thing is that when you set a goal for yourself, you should work towards achieving it. Then, if, for example, peradventure, you did not get what you actually want, maybe you need to re-strategize.
Yes.
Go for more trainings, go for more other things that can enhance you and make you
Exactly.
beneficial in that company. So by
Exactly.
that, you would have become more experienced, and you would have gotten more skills as at that time. Then you can become a better person than what you
Perfect.
even planned for yourself.
Perfectly. Perfectly said. It's all a continuous improvement opportunity. Life is all about continuous improvement. Thank you.
Thank
Khadija is wanting to say something, I think. Modina?
You say, what you had said, those are so valuable, mashallah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the session. It was really wonderful. Like all the sessions of yours is really, uh, very informative and it's helpful for the life. Sir, I had two questions. Like I usually struggle. Like I do SWOT analysis and all, but still I'm not able to decide. So first question is like my long term goal is like I want to establish some company. Like I want to have a platform where I can balance personal life and professional life. Like I can create a platform for others, because there are people like all of us are either into much personal life where we cannot balance that, or into much of professional life where we cannot give qualitative time to our family members. So what can I do so that I can have a platform where people can really enjoy the work, and they can manage both, and then can have handsome salary as well, so that they can enjoy. So, what kind of business I can implement?
Okay. It would depend really on where are you located. Where are you again?
I'm in Hyderabad, India.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, I remember you mentioned that. So let's say if the world has now become so borderless. So even if you are located in Hyderabad, there are many things that people will be able to do. They'll be able to engage themselves, and they can look at opportunities actually around the world. Like just like what we are doing now, we are already in different countries, and we are discussing a particular topic, and we are enriching ourselves, and we are looking at how do we solve problems for people. So when we're looking at a platform, there are many platforms already available. There are already many platforms which are available. Now it's a matter of finding that particular platform which is maybe suitable to what you have in mind. Uh, we may not be able to completely understand and analyze all of that here, because there will still need a few more questions to be answered. But let's say there may be already a platform there right now which may serve your purpose. So we need to find that platform. We need to see how you can get involved and engaged in that platform, and then how you can now bring it to others, and then how they may be able to share the benefits that you are talking about, that you want to provide for them, and how can they have a better balanced life, and how can they all share the fruits of the labor. That's number one. Number two, the number of hours that we have, all of us have, is 24 hours in a day. But some days has got more hours than other days. For example, 24 times 7. But in other days, we may not be going to work, Saturdays or Sundays, for example, or there may be other off days for each of you. You might have a different off days. So when you have a limited amount of time, then you need to look at the other days on which you have more time. Where can you create more time by reducing something else, and then creating time for you to do what you want to do to improve your position, and then apply that time in the platform, whether it is by e-commerce, whether it is by creating some content, whether it is selling a service that you might be able to provide, a value-added service that you might be able to provide for someone, and you might be able to earn an income from that. Okay, At the same time, we are also looking at, we don't want to spend too much of time working and again it will create, your impact on your balanced life, right? So how do you find that balance? This is actually the question. So if you're looking at a platform, there may be one already out there, look for it. If there isn't one, then you could design it yourself. Okay? You can actually design it. So sitting down there, you might be able to speak to somebody else who is in the IT world, you might be able to create the idea that you have and then discuss with others. You might come out with a think tank yourself and discuss with others, how can we create a platform which may be useful for this? Yes, there are some platforms out there, but it doesn't serve the purpose that you are thinking about. It doesn't bring the products that you are thinking about or the service that you want to provide for the community that you are thinking about. Okay, how can we create this and how can we do this? There's an example which someone was talking to me about. He wanted a big amount of funding, but he got an approval from one of the African countries. And there are fruits which are grown in the country, is Kenya, and the fruits which are grown there, but the middleman ends up taking a very big chunk of profit, a chunk of the price. So now he wants to see how can he bring a platform where all those producers can sell the product on that platform, and then he earns a much better price than what he used to get before. Okay, so that's an example. So he is trying to create a platform. The country itself wants to create that platform. So they gave a contract to someone and said that, hey, can you go out and do this? We want to help our agricultural producers so that they get a better value, so that we don't have cartels. I'm just giving the example of Kenya, but it could be. We don't want people to be, taking away the value that is produced by them and bring it back to them, bring it back to the producers, share it with them. Everybody gets an equal portion of the pie. Okay, so those are platforms. So it comes out from a complaint. Someone may have registered a complaint. The producers would have registered a complaint. They've discussed, they've found out what are things which we can do. Okay, so you're coming out with a very honorable idea that you want to do something, you want to help the community. So instead of creating something new, see whether there's something out there which you can take, modify, apply. If there isn't, yes, you are at liberty to create something yourself.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Another question is, sir, like how to have clarity about goals. Like I usually have since childhood, I want to be this, that, like it keeps on changing. Earlier I used to think, like in class 2 or 3, I wanted to be a scientist, then marine scientist, then pilot, then, it used to constantly change. And now, I'm very clear, like I want to open schools, inshallah, like a very creative school, and free from fees, like those are people like slums and all, they can have those things, benefits. So, and it gives and I want to be, at the same time I want to be in good position of HR, like international human resource, or some kind of a good, I have to research like what is the profiles in HR. So and at the same time also I want to be Ayurvedic doctor. I don't know, like why it keeps changing. I want to have some stability.
Okay. Like you mentioned, you're very good at creating a SWOT analysis and things like
Yes,
that.
yes.
Okay, so all that is good. We are learning so many things. Just in the last 1 month, we have learned so many things. During this 1 month itself, many of you may have decided that what you have been doing earlier, you want to change it because you got started getting new ideas. You want to change the way you are doing things because you have learned new things. You're talking to new people. They're coming up with many different creative ideas and very innovative and very uh, things which you've never thought about. Okay, so that's what the whole purpose of this lead house. And so this is what you're actually in a hot pot. You're in a hot pot. You're in a hot spot. You're actually just bursting with a lot of energy and a lot of ideas. But some people are very naturally like that. For example, you have been thinking about this for a long time, from the, let's say, from the age of 2 or age of 6 or 8, you might be coming out with many things, but the creative mind is always coming out with lots of things, and we need to see where is it that you actually want to lead to. What you have come out with is not wrong, it is not bad. Just because you have more than one idea doesn't mean that it is fickle or something like that. Take credit for the fact that you are being creative and a lot of imagination. You're giving a very fertile ground for your imagination to do. At the same time, we also don't want to get caught. You heard of the famous phrase, paralysis by analysis. So we do so much of analysis, and then we become paralyzed. We really just did not know where are we going to go. What shall we do next? That's not you, but I'm saying that we want to be able to have a clarity. So the 4 quadrants of Ikigai was supposed to give some clarification. We have a SWOT analysis. We spoke about that even in our own talk as well. We talked about coming out with goals and SMART goals. So this matrix, it's not just one tool. We have one tool. The SWOT analysis may be something which you might use because it's very easy. You just put it inside. Somebody else may be finding difficulty to fill up a SWOT analysis, but you could do it very easily. So you're very used to it. Now you have SMART goals. You're supposed to come out with it according to that. You're supposed to be smart. You're supposed to be direct. You're supposed to be etc. etc. Then you also come out with whether is it important or not important, urgent, etc. You have so many matrices. So you need to play with them. You need to play with them, prioritize. So only you will be able to find the best solution. If you have difficulty, then the best is have a buddy, come out with a buddy, come out with a coach, identify a coach, a mentor. They become a sounding board for you. Okay, you say, this is what I'm thinking about, but last week I thought about that, and now I'm suddenly thinking about this. By the time I go home, I might have another idea. Okay, so this is actually what happens. So it's fertile. The imagination is very fertile. So find ways to manage that imagination. List it out, document it, put it in an order, rank them out, create a ranking X and Y axis, A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you see which is the one which you want to come out with. So it may be the top 5. So what is the top 5? And then what is right at the top, which is number 1. So you start working on it. So you may decide to work on more than one goal, right? When we start a business, we have more than one goal. The goal is not just to make profit. The goal is not just to make cash. The goal is also to provide employment, provide a sense of self-esteem. We want to provide a service for the community. We want to have, like you're actually talking about SDG, which is number 4, quality education. So you want to do that. You want to provide quality education. Wow, you're actually opening up the whole world. You're helping them to reduce poverty, sanitization, etc., and health and well-being. So there are 17 goals. Which of these goals are you going to achieve? So right now, by your own words, you're already thinking that it's education. So you're looking at education. But inside education, it could be something else. So what I would suggest, Fatma, is come out with an analysis. Maybe even speak to a buddy. Have a buddy system where you actually speak to the person and say, look, for the next 30 days, can you be with me? And you speak to them, you get a mentor, and they may be able to give you some clarity. The reason why I say I have someone else, not that that person is going to be necessarily better than you, but they become a sounding board. Okay? They listen to you, and then they may ask you some questions. Finally, you will be making the decisions. But it gives you a clarity. It helps to sieve and settle things. The big rocks, the small rocks. Start creating a bigger, better picture. I hope that helped.
Sir, totally it helped. Thank you so much, sir. You have given a lot of suggestions, mashallah, and I have jotted all of it. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
most welcome.
Mr. Nara. Now, Modinat, you can thank Mr. Nara for his time and efforts, and then We can wind up the meeting.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Nara. We so much appreciate you. May Almighty God continue to guide and protect you wherever you go. All your set goals will be achieved, inshallah. And to the leaders in the house too, our set goals too shall be achieved in due course. But whatever we are doing now, I just believe that I just want to say it that wherever you are, whatever you are doing now, continue to have a plan B for yourself, because a plan B will keep you abreast when there is any change, any challenges in whatever you are doing now. So the plan B will keep you up and doing. So thank you very much, and thank you, Dr. Halima, for this program. I really appreciate everything. I really enjoy it. It is a good session that I have enjoyed. Thank you very much. Do we have any other person that have any question?
Thank you very much, everyone. Now, please switch on your video. Right now in the house, we are from 5 different countries. Okay, so 5 nationalities are here.
Yes.
Modinat is from Nigeria, Nara from Malaysia, Anara from Maldives, Aisha from KSA, Saudi Arabia, and the rest, Neha, Sana, Ruhi, all are from India. So 5 nationalities are here. This is a very historical moment. Switch on your video and click a photograph and upload on your status writing that 5 nationalities, friends from 5 nationalities all together. Okay, Neha, Ruhi, please click on, switch on your video. Ruhi, now let me see that who writes the best caption for this and who clicks the best photograph, or I can click the photograph and share so that you can write the caption and you can beautify it. Okay, smile please, everyone. Oh, Khadija, your face is not visible. Just adjust your camera. And always keep camera like this. So your most of the part will be visible. Dr. Anara, you also, if you can do it like this. Landscape.
Yes.
Yes, it's better always. Khadija, you also. And Neha, you also. Put it in the landscape. Yes, very good. Khadija, now you. Yes. No, the other one, other side. ऐसे करके रखो ऐसे. हाँ, देखो. Now you. Now Neha, you. Neha, please you. Landscape. Yes, better. Okay, smile please, everyone. Give beautiful smile. Thank you very much. It was very lovely session. And tomorrow we are going to have another very important personality, Mr. Colonel Shobit Kamra. And then after that, 2 days you will have off. 2 days you will have off means like Zoom class will not be there, video class will be there. So you have to watch the video and do the task given in the video as class. And then we will meet on 29th for rehearsal, and then 30th will be the valedictory function. So now very little time is there. You all have to catch up fast. And we will select for the interview also among you people that who all qualify to be interviewed on JAHAN-E. So I will be sharing the names that who all have qualified for that. Walaikum salam.
Yeah, ma'am, I have a question. Like for today, we were supposed to give our speeches, right? So is that session over?
No, we have not done that. We have directly started because on that discussion was there in the beginning. Some people were not able to understand what exactly is the task.
Yeah, so those who have already prepared, when
You
they are
keep
supposed to tell us,
your speeches ready. You keep your speeches ready. We will give you a chance to speak. Maybe when we are going to meet on these days, any one of these days, then we will start with your speeches only. Keep your speeches ready.
Ma'am, speech
Okay,
is
fine,
ready.
fine.
Yeah.
Mine also.
Okay.
Mine also.
Okay then. Thank you very much.
I
Thank-
wanted to say thank you very much to Dr. Halima as well as to each and every one of you. You all have been very, very active participants, and it's been my pleasure as well to be here with all of you. And thank you very much for your wonderful, camaraderie as well as participation. So, wish you all the best as well as blessings for your success.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good
Thank
night,
you so
Thank
much.
you very
everyone.
much.
Good night. Good night.